Hey guys, Damien here, welcome back to another video. So we've had a few questions about the Velvet Revolver we thought we'd answer in this video. One of the questions, which is common, is how would we use the Velvet Revolver versus a rotary polisher? What are the differences between a Velvet Revolver and a rotary polisher? Well, to answer them quickly, a rotary polisher is a much more aggressive unit. It will polish more aggressively, it will build heat more aggressively, and it will get the job done faster. But a Velvet Revolver will be more forgiving, in fact will be extremely forgiving in comparison to a rotary polisher. A rotary polisher will be more aggressive than the Velvet Revolver. A rotary polisher will work faster. It will deliver correction of imperfections faster than a Velvet Revolver will, or any random orbital polisher will. A Velvet Revolver will give someone without the skill level a lot more wiggle room, so you won't be building heat as quickly. You'll maintain the same amount of correction, although it'll take significantly longer to achieve the same levels of correction, but the chances of having issues, whether that's removing paint or heating paint to the point where it's damaged, is significantly reduced versus a rotary polisher. So for example, we have a panel here, it has some significantly deep scratches. If they don't look deep, trust me, they are very, very deep, incredibly deep. This is normally something we'd have to wet sand to remove, not the softest paint to work on. It's not hard, but it's not the softest paint to work on. And we're going to try to correct this in one pass with a Velvet Revolver. We know that it's not going to happen, but we want to see how much correction the Velvet Revolver is capable of in one pass without any wet sanding and just C.A.P Heavy. And we're going to use a nanofiber 135mm nanofiber pad to see if we can have decent correction, but a finish that will have no hologramming, that'll be wax ready. So we want to see what we can get done in one step. Now this is going to take some time, so Bespoke can do some magical editing and we can have the result shown a little quicker. And as you can see, there's still significant scratches. You can see that those deeper marks are there, and it's rounded them a little, but it's really not sufficient. So we have some correction, but nothing that we would say would be worthwhile doing. And obviously the results aren't worth that time and those material costs, so we need to take it up a step. We expected this. We expected for these kind of imperfections to require 2 or 3 passes. Let's see if we can get it done in 2 passes. So we've just taken a couple of the scratches in the middle of this area, in the midsection of this area. We're going to hit it with some 2000 wet and dry on a denibbing block. It's building up a slurry. We're going to remove the clear coat that's building up in that slurry by applying a little more water. Just a few more passes with 2000 grit now. We're applying just enough pressure to keep that block flat. We don't want that block bouncing around on the edges, we want it to be perfectly flat on the surface. So now we have our 2000 corrected surface. It is corrected. There's a very, very obvious scratch pattern that's a remainder, but those scratches underneath that have been corrected. They've been re-leveled. Now all there's left to do is to correct the residual from the wet sanding step. So we're going to apply some C.A.P Heavy, and we're going to choose the same 135mm nanofiber pad, and we're going to expect that this wet sanding residual will be corrected in one pass with the Velvet Revolver. C.A.P Heavy, quite a significant amount of C.A.P Heavy, much more than we normally use for obvious reasons, and this 135mm nanofiber pad. Now we like to use the nanofiber pad because we can achieve a lot in one step, and that nanofiber pad will give us a wax ready finish. It'll deliver a finish that we have to do nothing more to, no holograms, no swirls, a perfect finish. So we'd rather use C.A.P Heavy and a very fine pad like the nanofiber pad than use ultra fine and a very aggressive pad, because we find the finish is better with that combination of polish and pad. Now again, we're not expecting the 2 marks either side of the area that we've sanded to have any correction. We purposely didn't sand those 2 marks so we can see how much we'd re-level them just with polish, and we want to see how many imperfections have been removed from the area we've wet sanded. We remove the polish. This cloth is kinda loaded, you can see those streaks left behind. That's polish residual within the cloth fibres. That cloth is becoming full and will need to be replaced soon, or just simply buff it with another side. There we go, we've turned over the cloth and it's working much better. That area of the cloth was full. All of that wet sanding residual is gone in one pass. That light there is very unforgiving, so if there was some residual, it would no longer be there. If we used less polish, there may have been some residual and we may need a second pass to remove what was left of the wet sanding. We did overdo it with the polish, but we were able to complete the correction in one step, which is the main goal. Okay, so let's try another section. Now this is one of the wet sanding imperfections that the guys from our recent masterclass have left behind, and this is one of the sections that received a 2000 grit pass. So again, we'll hit this with our Velvet Revolver, a 135mm nanofiber pad, and C.A.P Heavy. We're applying a little less C.A.P Heavy than we did before. The pad's already loaded and we don't need to have too much for such a small section of correction. And we're going to concentrate on this small section. We're putting enough pressure to make sure that the pad is flat on that surface at all times. We're not leaning on that edge there. From time to time, you just want to check that surface and make sure you're not building up too much heat. The chances of building too much heat with the Velvet Revolver, as we explained before, are very, very low, but check the panel anyway, it's worthwhile. Whilst you're in your paint correction sustain mode, and if you don't know what the sustain mode is, refer to our blog post where we explain the attack, release, and sustain modes of polishing. Grab a paintwork cloth with some paint cleanse, and remove that polish residual. Make sure all that polish is gone from the surface. That paint cleanse, otherwise known as truth serum, will remove every single drop of polish from that surface. No polish will be hiding in any of the imperfections, and it won't be filling and giving you a false result. That will remove all of it so you can see all the imperfections that have been corrected and any that haven't. As you can see here, that surface is perfect. There's a scratch there, there's a mark there that's far too deep. So again, some more 2000 grit wet sanding residual corrected in one pass with the Velvet Revolver, a 135mm nanofiber pad, and C.A.P Heavy. And that allows you to go directly to your wax stage if you prefer. If not, and you want to take it one step further, you can do an optional jeweling stage. You'll be able to extract a little more gloss out of that, about 2 to 5 gloss units. Hope this has been helpful, guys. Enjoy your Velvet Revolvers.